Good evening, everyone. That was indeed pictures from Sparky's YouTube meet and greet that we recently had, I guess, just less than a month ago, a couple weeks ago in May in Pennsylvania. And welcome to the June mini prints of the month, monthly live. And I say it every month and I'll say it again. I can't believe it's June. Welcome to June, everybody. Thank you for joining. We're going to start off with a few hellos. I think the first person in who gets the cookie, it's James from Dundas Junction Model Railroad. Welcome, James. Rail Artist is here. Dave Hammer, welcome. Mike H.O. Trains, good evening. Trackside Mike, how you doing? Dan Pugach, lovely to see you. Wrathbaster, lovely to see you as well. Alan and Am Making New Memories. Good morning, all from sunny Adelaide. I'm assuming that's Adelaide, Australia. So welcome from Australia. Who else do we have here? We've got Robert Egan coming in from Baltimore. Grandpa Rails. Mark Lewis. George Flanagan. You are correct. That was Minersville. And many more people. Jerry Coffey from Oklahoma. Thank you, Rail Artist, for the compliment on the video and the music. That was kind of fun new music that I found. And everyone else who's coming in, welcome. As you all know, the first thing that we do on every broadcast is fire up the presentation, which I will do right now. And we have to pick a beer. So that becomes very important. All right, let's do that. All right, so this is a picture from the Reading Historical Society, and we will talk about that momentarily. But first, we have to get and do a little work here. So I have 4 beers this evening, all picked up from across the street at the Brewery Henderson's, who is the official beer of Mini Prints. And yes, I am still very happy and thrilled that I can say I have a beer sponsor. The first beer, which I will reach for, is a cross promotion between Henderson and a brewery in Vancouver called the Parkside Brewery. If anyone here is from Vancouver, you probably know it. And this is, remember, the Grizzlies has to do with, I believe, the NBA team. 25 years ago, Vancouver got the Grizzlies and Toronto got the Raptors. So this is a dry hopped lager, 4.4% alcohol. Looks actually quite yummy. The second one, which gets my vote, is another cross promotion. It is called Port Me Another. It's a cross promo between Henderson and Quails Brewery. 2020 Farm Brewery Hop Yards. I'm not quite sure what all that is. A distinctive English porter emerges from the nostalgic collaboration between Quails Brewery and Henderson Brewing Company, celebrating a friendship that began in high school. Oh, that's cool. So, you know, I do love a good porter. Then the last 2 beers are really interesting. So this is Meek Joe and Super Joe. They're both Henderson IPAs, and you know I'm not a huge IPA fan, but they're both brewed to commemorate Joe Shuster, who was born here in Toronto, actually went to Lansdowne Public School, which is probably about a 5-10 minute walk from me right now. And in I can't read this, but in 1923, the Schusters moved to Cleveland from Toronto, where they found better work. And a decade later, The Reign of the Superman was published. Sadly, Joe Shuster apparently drew and sketched cartoons all the time. And there's a whole write-up here I won't read because it'll take forever. But I didn't know this. I knew that he was Toronto, but he handed over the rights to Superman to DC Comics for $130 and spent the rest of his life, I think, regretting it. Anyway, a little Toronto history. Henderson's is always very good on the history. You'll remember that there's always a fun story, including my favorite, the clown riots. Hello, Sparky 107. Welcome. I'm about to show a picture of you on the next slide, I believe. So you guys can vote for whichever one you want. I can tell you right now, the Super Joe is 10%. So I'm going to save that one for later. So anyone who's voting for Super Joe, I will drink it. I'm just not going to drink it right now. Let's take a quick look and see the votes. All right. Dan Pugach, he will model trains for beer. I like that. Jerry says, remember the Grizzlies. People are voting for Super Joe because they probably saw the 10% and want to get me drunk. If I drink the Super Joe, my layout will fly. Yeah, I will fly too. Another vote for Grizzlies. Can't go wrong with a porter. Grizzlies. I think it's the Grizzlies that's winning it. I'm seeing 3 Grizzlies. So I'm going to pop me open a Grizzly and we're going to get on with the show. Okay, I don't want to remove me from the layout. Let's try the dry hopped lager. I think that's a wise choice. And I promise you, I will have all of them. Now, I will tell you a quick story while I pour this. And I always like to show you. I'm pouring it in my mini prints glass. I walked across the street to Henderson's. And I said, hey, what do you think about doing a mini prints beer with a mini prints can? And they said, no problem. And they gave me a price. And the price is affordable. And I get 700 cans of mini prints beer. There's only one small problem. I don't know what to do with 700 cans of mini prints beer. So if anybody wants a mini prints Henderson collaboration and can figure out what I do with 700 cans of beer, let me know. Cheers. If you got them, drink them. Very nice. All right. Yes, mini prints beer. I can't legally bring it down to the States, I don't think. And I don't think you can import beer. So if there's anyone here who knows how to get 700 cans of beer into the United States, or if there's 700 of you, or 350 if you want to drink 2 of them, that want to come up here to Miniature Printerland, I love the idea of doing a mini prints beer. We'll just have to figure it out. Sparky, I think I just put Sparky down for 350 cans. I think he's in. All right, back to the presentation. And I don't want to go too long tonight because I've got a fantastic guest in the basement. And I will let you know that Lonnie Bathurst, and I think I'm saying his last name right. I hope it's Bathurst and not another pronunciation, is right there. He's right underneath my finger in the basement. And he will be joining us momentarily to talk about the St. Louis RPM, which I'm super excited. But before we get to Lonnie, let me go back to the presentation. Here we go. One of the things I just wanted to mention on that video, the video introduction, which was cobbled together from a whole bunch of little clips from Sparky's YouTube meet and greet, is there were so many highlights. I'll talk about a few of them in a minute. But one of them had to have been going to see Bethlehem Steel, because the scale of that plant is absolutely amazing. They've done a fantastic job. It's not operating anymore, but they've done a fantastic job of turning it almost into an interpretive center or a historic walk. You can walk like there's an elevated walkway that goes right through the front of the steelworks with plaques, and you can walk through the smelting furnaces, and it's absolutely fascinating. And the scale of the industrial architecture is absolutely spectacular. I didn't expect to see it. And the reason I was in Bethlehem, I'll talk about in a minute. Well, actually, I'll tell you right now, because I went to see this incredible Lehigh and Keystone Valley Model Railroad. I'm wearing their lovely shirt today. And I'll talk about that very briefly as well. But certainly Bethlehem Steel, an amazing place to fly a drone, and one of the many highlights. In terms of highlights, it was absolutely the people, and a big thank you to Sparky for putting on his YouTube meet and greet. Had a ton of fun. I don't know much about reading, otherwise known as reading. And it was really interesting to see a lot of history and a lot of engines that I had not been, really that weren't on my modeling radar. And we had some fantastic dinners. We got together. This is a big crew of characters. The big event was on the Saturday when we rode the Bud RDCs up to Minersville, which we then got off at Minersville and saw that amazing steam engine, which you saw in the introduction. So a shout out to Sparky, and a good time was had by all. And if you ever get a chance to check out a Sparky 107 YouTube meet and greet, that's time well spent. Lots and lots of fun. This was one of the videos that I just showed, and it was one of the videos that I caught that I showed earlier. Let me just go to it. So this number 113, I mean, I haven't seen a lot of steam engines in my life, but this is only, I think, the second or, well, the third operating steam engine that I've ever been close to. And because I'm a modern day diesel modeler, and these are living, breathing animals. I'm always in awe when I get up to and next to these beasts. They're quite fascinating. And this was another amazing part of the trip. So this was in Minersville. And the sounds, unbelievable sounds. I mentioned briefly the Lehigh and Keystone Valley model. When I was there, and this is probably, yeah, I think it's safe to say the largest club layout that I've ever been to. And this was part of Sparky's events, his tour. This video has had something in the order of, whoops, let me go back for a minute, something in the order of 3,000, almost 4,000 views. I've never had a video before on YouTube with that many views. So something really struck a chord with this specific layout tour. If you haven't seen it, check out the Lehigh and Keystone Valley Model Railroad video. It is an incredible layout. They were so kind to me. I was scanning there, and a big thank you to everyone there. It's a must see, and that's in Bethlehem, which is what, of course, led to the steelworks. The other thing I'll mention just while I'm on this page is it's been a very busy month for YouTube videos. I went live last Wednesday. First time I've ever gone live twice in a month for 2 events, and that was for the GP 9RM remote belt pack operator masterclass with George Taylor of CN and with Rapido. And that was a lot of fun. If you have a moment to go back and watch that, it was really interesting for me anyway, to hear how these things operate. And if you're interested in modern day freight operations, George is an engineer for CN, and his behind the scenes view on things was really interesting. And we learned a lot about remote operations with belt packs and why you use remote control locomotives. And it was a fascinating broadcast. All right. I will pause for a minute. I will have a sip of beer and I will check some comments. I like Dan's comment here. Maybe I can convince Sparky to have a YouTube meet and greet up here, and we can have a beer party at Miniature Printerland on the agenda. All right, let's keep going. Oh, thank you, Mike. Yeah, Mike Mike has done some beautiful painting and weathering on his GP9 remote control mother and slug and the crew figures. All right, what is next? Oh, yes. I wanted to share some pictures that people had been sharing on the Miniprints Modelers Facebook group. The Facebook group is really the place. There are two Facebook groups. There's Miniprints, of course, which is where I share information. But then there's the Miniprint Modelers group, which is where everybody posts pictures. And there have been some really great images up on the Facebook groups lately. So I just wanted to call some out. Don Kerr's Bigfoot, fabulous paint job on that. Ian from Australia, who's been doing just amazing work with painting our little mini-me figures. Steve did this great scene out in front of the convenience store with the Miniprints ice box and the newspaper box. And yes, and these blew my mind. I wanted to share, I love this scene from Roger, and I think it's Mercier, of the Miniprints moose head and the detail inside. I mean, I always love when people, over super ultra detail the inside of buildings, because that's just a level of detail and dedication that blows my mind. I thought, if there was ever a picture that sort of summed up, all the things, that we say at Miniprints, it's the little things that matter most. And, all the sort of love of super details. It's this picture. And then, of course, Steve Anderson, who painted up the dollies and the umbrellas in HO scale, and then actually put a pattern on the umbrellas, which blew my mind because these things are incredible. This scale on the super detail room is HO scale, as far as I remember. I'm 99.9% sure. I'd have to go back and look up what he purchased, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that that's HO scale. But I will double check. If it's not, I'll make a note of it. Just beautiful work. So thank you, everyone, for sharing those. If you have done something with or to a mini print and you would like to share it, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Wow is right. That picture really grabbed my attention. Please do feel free to share your work on the Miniprint Modelers Facebook group. I love seeing it. Speaking of, I'd like to share a few new mini prints with you that have come new this month. That's Mike H.O., who, let's just see, right here, that Mike H.O. I scanned him. I said, I scanned him. I said, hey, Mike, how would you like to be Hobo Mike and sit on the couch? So he sat on my couch here in the studio, and I scanned him, and he is available as Hobo Mike on the couch. The park garbage cans are a detail that I've wanted for ages, so got those out finally. Hobo Mike, that's right, Hobo Mike. Whoops, I always hit the wrong one. Hobo Mike. I put the bighorns here because every week I have something on sale. So I'm trying to every Wednesday post a sale item and go back into the catalog from things that were 4 years ago that might not have seen the light of day recently. The bighorns were on sale last week. I just put the pigeons on sale this week. And typically, well, every week what I've done is I've taken an older animal that I haven't worked on or I haven't featured in the last 3 or 4 years, and I put them on for 50% off. So if you're interested in a great deal on Miniprints pigeons, go check the sale tab on the Miniprints website. And all right. I will say hello, Russ. Hello to Russ. Hello to Crooked River and Eastern. Hello to Adam Cruz. And hello to everybody who came in a little bit later on the broadcast. Welcome all. The barbecue is not new. That came out last year. But I put the barbecue up because if you place an order between now and the 9th, which is this coming Sunday at miniprints.com, and it is $30 US or more, you can use the code barbecue and get a free barbecue figure in NHOS or O scale. And yes, Adam, Skyrats are 50% off. And I think I've got one more slide of what's new before we get to our special guest, which is amazing because I kind of said I mentioned to him around 7:30 and I'm never, ever, ever on time. All righty. So what else is new in the last month? The dollies, which we talked about a little bit earlier, the belt pack operator figures, that's George there on the CN locomotive. And if you haven't seen the Rapido GP9 RM locomotives, oh man, they are just absolutely spectacular. And I announced it on the masterclass, but the good news is I will be doing lots more scanning and work with Rapido. So stay tuned. There will be lots more mini print Rapido collaborations coming. Yeah, Sparky, a Red Wing Blackbird. That is, believe it or not, that was a request. A lot of these things are requests. So if you have a request, I can't guarantee that I will get to it. But somebody asked for Red Wing Blackbirds, and I thought, you know what? That's a really good idea. And these things are microscopic. They are absolutely, they are prototypical sized. So 1/87th of an of a Red Wing Blackbird. So microscopic. Oh, Adam, you're really, okay. I'll try anything. We'll see. It's just a matter of finding out the time of when. But this last picture, I just want to spend a moment on it because this is something exciting. So this is a new product, the Tree Fort. And I'll probably get in a little bit of trouble from Brett for introducing it because we have a sort of a little bit of an unwritten rule here that I like to send things out in the Mini Prints of the Month Club first. But you are seeing this. I know, Adam, you are a Mini Prints of the Month Club subscriber. So you will be receiving the new Mini Prints Tree Fort. And I just want to spend a minute before I bring Lonnie on to talk about the Tree Fort, because the first time I saw the sort of the idea of the Tree Fort was on my friend Trevor Marshall's layout. And Trevor, an incredible modeler, he modeled the Port Rowan in S scale. He lived not too many blocks away from me here in Toronto, and he's moved out to Alberta now. Saskatchewan now. But he had, all right, Sparky. All right, hang on. It's like a wedding. When people say drink, you have to drink. So Trevor Marshall on this amazing Port Rowan S scale layout had a Calvin and Hobbes Tree Fort. And I was always very enamored with that. He built, I don't know if anyone's a Calvin and Hobbes fan, but he had the Tree Fort from Calvin and Hobbes built in a corner of his layout. And I thought, you know what? I always wanted to build a Tree Fort. And it's always been on my radar. So here we go. This is the new Mini Prints Tree Fort. And it comes in two pieces. And they snap together. And they have little pins for orienting it. And the idea behind it is that you basically take any tree on your layout, because you don't want to have to, sort of do a tree. And you basically just take any tree on your layout, and I did that with the one I photographed, and you weather the inside, you paint up the tree fort you want, and then you basically just put it together using this sort of little tongue and groove system there. And you just put it around the tree, and there you go. Cool tree fort for your layout. So I'm super excited about that. As I say, if you're a Mini Prints of the Month Club subscriber, you will be receiving that this month. And I'm so excited that I just I wanted to show everybody, announce it. It does come with the ladder. And I'm thinking that my next challenge, build contest, I don't know what I want to call it, because I think the peanut butter lid thing might have run its course. But I'm thinking it might be fun to do a little module contest, something around the tree fort. So stay tuned. That is not listed on Mini Prints yet. I will probably put that up either tomorrow or Friday. Put that up for sale. And if you want to get one, Mini Prints of the Month, the retail cost on the tree fort will be half of your monthly Mini Prints of the Month Club subscription. So the Mini Prints of the Month Club is a good deal. You pretty much get all the new mini prints that month at 50% off. It's easier to put together than an ITLA kit. And it's funny you mentioned that, Sparky, because I was thinking, did I want to do this as a wood kit? Because you know that I do a lot of work with Nick at ITLA. And my general rule of thumb is that wood things should be wood, and 3D printed things should be 3D printed. But I thought on this one, you know what? I'm just gonna 3D print up a tree house, and I think it worked out really well. So that's a little bit of fun. Okay. Are we at that magic time? Oh, one last announcement. Almost forgot. Hang on, Lonnie. One more slide. There's always one more slide. This is something else that is new and exciting for this month. This is up on the website right now. So we put out about a year ago a Mini Prints anhydrous ammonia nurse tank. These are used for spreading anhydrous ammonia on fields by farmers. When I brought it out, I don't believe there was one on the market. Since then, some horrible competitors have copied it, but that's what horrible competitors do, such as life in the big leagues. But I always wanted decals for that. Now, I think Tom Johnson and some other incredibly talented modelers created their own, but I was contacted by my decal guy, who is Bill Brillinger at pdc.ca, and I've been doing decals with Bill for 10 years easily. He's fantastic. And he said that a modeler named Mike Sharon, so Mike, if you're here, thank you, had requested them, and did I want to get involved? And I'm like, oh, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. So big thanks to Bill Brillinger of pdc.ca and Mike Sharon for coming up with the artwork. These are now available on the Mini Prints website. So if you have a Mini Prints ammonia anhydrous ammonia tank and you would like decals, you can get them. If you don't have a nurse tank for your layout and you would like a nurse tank for your layout, you can now get one with decals. And that is the other bit of news this month. So without any further ado, let's see what the next slide looks like. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. I think I made it. So thank you everyone for sticking with us for this long. And now is the time when I'm going to go a little bit smaller and introduce our featured guest. And I'm so excited. I met Lonnie last year. As you know, I went down to the St. Louis RPM and it blew my mind. It was absolutely the best event last year. Well, I mean, there were a lot of great events last year, but I have to say the St. Louis RPM was the best event last year. Hooking up with the whole What's Neat This Week gang, hanging out with James and all of, Josh Barton and all those guys and Mike Buddy, making new friends. St. Louis is an incredible town for railroading. The number of short lines, the number of class ones. I think every class one is there, actually. I don't think there's a class one that doesn't interchange in St. Louis. But the RPM itself was spectacular. I think one of the videos that had the most hits for my YouTube page last year was the St. Louis RPM. So since I'm going again this year, and since it's only about a month away, without further ado, I thought it might make sense to add Lonnie to the broadcast. Hello, Lonnie.
Good to see you this evening.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys doing? Sounds like you have a good bunch with you. And the
beer looks tasty.
There's
a lot of, the mini prints crew are always very engaged. They always like to watch me drink usually a high proof beer and slur my words. So I don't know whether they're here for the model railroading or the entertainment factor or both. But no, it's a great group. And I know everyone's super excited to hear about the RPM. And I should introduce you as the producer. Is that right?
Yeah, when I sign a check or open an account, they call me president when I pay for the contract for the Gateway Center. But I kind of produce the show, and I couldn't do it without those people that serve as managers of all the details and treasurers and all that. But I'm the one that kind of puts it together in terms of a theme, gets the people that exhibit, the clinicians, presenters, historical societies, so on and so forth. A lot of people involved. I just get to start it every year. So
let's talk about that. This is your what year at the?
This is 17 coming up.
17.
Yes.
And did you inherit it or did you start it 17 years ago?
John Golden is the godfather of this particular event. He started it in O'Fallon, Illinois. I happened to be there through a mutual friend, Dan Kohlberg. You might all know that works with Tangent and has his own line of decals as well. And so Dan says, you got to come and help and see this thing, because he had been going to Naperville, the oldest of the RPMs. And so I went, and it was a very small event the first year, and it's grown ever since. And John kind of ran the whole thing for many years, and Dan and I and others have helped along the way. And then John went off on a job to Germany for maybe 5 years. And with each passing year, he got more involved in raising kids and all that. And we got more involved in growing it from 200 or 300 to maybe 600 or 700 by the time he came back. And, so I've kind of taken over that role. And John's now helping rebuild Naperville, what I still call Naperville. It's a Chicago RPM. And it's a wonderful event in itself. That's where I go to have fun and relax. I can't relax at this one we put on. But no, John started this baby, and there's a lot of things in there that have his footprint on them.
So it's not the oldest RPM, but my understanding is it's the largest RPM.
That's true. I think the other two that are significant in size would be the Chicagoland and then the Cocoa Beach, which is always fun too. You're in Florida in January. And so those two, these three are the largest, probably most well-known, but each coast and in between coast to coast, they'll have good RPMs, just maybe a little different.
Now, for folks who don't know, and I can't imagine there's anyone that doesn't, but sort of in the one sentence or less, what is an RPM? Like versus, a regional convention, or like what's the gist of an RPM?
Any RPM that you go to, a railroad prototype modeler meet, is a collection of serious, probably experienced modelers of any gauge, any scale, that just want to create something prototypical. It could be build a building or a car or a layout. They just want to do it to be correct from something they want to model.
Okay. And that's what really struck me. I mean, I loved last year. I mean, I loved the vendors. I loved, being part of, all the attendees and the clinics and all the rest of it. But I think what I loved is there were I'd easily say thousands and thousands of models on tables. And it was very interesting to sort of look at, and I think most people had a prototypical picture of something. And then beside the picture, the photograph, was their version of what that photograph was. And it was like a history lesson. I was looking at, bomber wings in World War II on flat cars, and fantastic historical photographs. And then there it was, created in model form beside the historical photograph. It was fascinating.
I think all of the RPM meets have beautiful models at them. We seem to have more than all the rest. We tout that we have around 5,000. I know that we've counted upwards of 4,000 just on the tables. We have 100 tables, pretty much full. Some are dioramas, other scenes, but a whole lot of models. And then between what the vendors bring, the exhibitors, historical societies, there's a lot more models out there that they're bringing on as something new that they're producing.
Okay, so I'm going to fire up the web page here because I want to show people a little bit. Let's do maybe a quick tour of what's going on, because there's a lot going on this year, isn't there?
There is, more than ever. More than ever.
So let's go present, share screen, St. Louis RPM, share. Okay, here we go. So I guess the first thing people need to know is it's the 19th and the 20th.
Yes, it is normally over most of the 17 years been the last weekend in July. There have been several variations to that for reasons at the time. This time we moved it up a week closer. Our partner in crime, Jeff Kubler, has a son getting out of college, a son getting married, lots of other family things going on, and he's too important in this event to not have him there. And that good soul was trying to do the RPM and the wedding the same weekend because his future daughter-in-law had everything lined up and he wasn't going to break her heart. And I said, Jeff, we can't do this. I've married two daughters off and we're going to do this a different weekend. Luckily, there in Collinsville, where we have this, at the Gateway Center, somebody was putting on an event the weekend that we had it, and they were so new in the planning stage, they literally swapped out the whole building for us for the next weekend. And so I don't know who that kind soul was, but when you put on something that big to take tens of thousands of square feet and you say, sure, I'll trade with those guys, that was a miracle. But anyway, so we moved it to the 19th and 20th. Next year, we might be back. We try to miss the NMRA because we're all very much supporters of the NMRA and their national. We know the narrow gauge folks have something. We just try to stay out of the way, and then other RPMs around the country. So that end of July seems to work pretty well across the country. Now,
Collinsville, I can answer this question, but Collinsville and St. Louis, what's the relationship there? Because people are confused.
Since it's actually in Collinsville, we just refer to that as the location, but we call it St. Louis because that's the major city. Collinsville being on the, say, 11-mile marker on Interstate 55 is, you can see the arch from there. And it's Metro East. So a lot of, thousands and thousands of people cross the river to work, and many come this way. In fact, our event often competes for hotel space with other things that are going on in the summer in St. Louis, and people pour into these hotels we want. So
it's basically across the river. Yes, exactly. So it's technically a different state and a different city, but you're all in the same geographic area, plus or minus.
Yes.
Okay. So I see the website here, and it's STLRPM. If people don't know, I will be attending. I will be attending for the second year in a row. I will be attending both as a fan because it blew my mind and the clinics were amazing and the models were amazing, but I will, of course, also be scanning. So we'll talk about that in a moment. But let's look at the schedule, the exhibitors. Where should we start? Let's start with the exhibitors.
Okay, so go to this. Yeah, go to the third tab over exhibitors. That'd be fine.
Yeah. So they're the vendors. Let's see, exhibits, vendors. Here we go. Jump to vendors. So it looks to me like you've got a ton of vendors here. Athern's going to be there. Let's see. So I'm looking for friendly names. Iowa Scaled Engineering. Oh, there's mini prints. They're going to be there. Let's see. Rapido. Oh, Rapido's going to be there. Fantastic. So you're getting all the big guys and Southern Tier grain modelers. That's fantastic 3D printing, soundtracks. So this is a big deal.
Yeah, we have, I'm guessing, another 15 or so to put on the website. We do everything we can digitally, thanks to Jeff Kubler and his son Eric. And
Okay.
there's a few companies that haven't submitted. They said they want to be there, but they have to go through this process. So that list is going to get longer. In fact, I think we're up about 15% of tables. We were around 200 tables last year. We're about 230 with a dozen to 15 new exhibitors, companies, and so forth that haven't been there. This is Broadway Limited's first year. It's Bachman's first year. And all of them, when they ask to be a part of this and get invited, they go through kind of an interview, if you will. I mean, we want to make sure they understand this is for prototype modeling. I don't know that you'd see a stroller in the place. And I think you could put all the children that are in that building in one car. It's
Yeah.
I don't mean to be harsh. It's just not a family event. It's for
No.
serious modelers. So we want the exhibitors to provide goods and services for serious modelers. It's not a train show. We have very few hobby shops per se.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's obviously what attracts from a business point of view, my company to this is it's people who have layouts, people who are serious about model railroading. So I see you have historical societies. Holy moly, that's amazing.
Yeah, I think we have maybe 16 on there, and I know 2 more. Katie is coming and B&O are coming, and this is their first year, so we welcome them.
And your theme this year, you have a theme every year, one for the ages, the art of aging your models to the era. So this looks to me like you're going to be focusing on something that's near and dear to my heart, which is weathering and painting.
Yes, we started with themes probably 6 or 7 years ago. I don't remember when. I went to John, who was still, I think, the general manager of it, and said, I'd like to start doing this thing where you have a theme, and the theme wouldn't overwhelm the RPM, but instead would give us a chance to focus or sort of a deep dive into one thing. Maybe it would be grain, maybe it would be passengers or technology or something. And for the 15th, which is kind of a milestone, we did one called The Kit. And we went back in time and looked at kits from the Depression era and said, they started out as basswood and evolved to a resin and a styrene and all these other things. We had good speakers on all that. Some of the manufacturers of some of these kits spoke, and so on and so forth. This year with weathering, I've been wanting to do that, but I wanted to do it from a perspective, a different twist that, anyone can do some kind of weathering. Sometimes it's appropriate, sometimes it's not. So we went across the country, across the continent really, looking for people who were excellent in the field of doing something. It might be rust on a car, it might be flaking an old wooden side building or something else. And I had for a good lead, Scott Thornton, I believe.
Very well.
Okay. And Scott put out a book this past year, Scenic Weathering Techniques.
I have it right over there. It's on I have a coffee table in my studio with the reading material. I love that book. There are a lot of fantastic modelers in that book.
Oh, exactly. I had, before we have the closing of the RPM on Saturday afternoon around 5 o'clock, after we do an hour of giving away door prizes, I usually announce the next year's theme. And so I've been thinking about it for months before that, and I wanted to do something in weathering. When he put out that book and I saw the people in it, I called him and I said, do you mind if we partner with some of the chemistry of thinking how I could put this together? And so this is probably 14 months in the working, and he had a book come out at the right time. So several of the artists that are in that book are going to be presenting at this year's, RPM.
So tell me who, are there any names that come to mind?
Okay. Scott is going to be there, and I think he's talking about the scenery and weathering the scenery aspect of his railroad.
Brilliant.
We've got let me see, I'm just looking at another screen I have here that talks a little bit about that. Give me a second to pull up some names. Weathering the derelict XCN snowplow in the 2000s. Matthew Lachance. You
Oh,
might
yes.
know
Oh,
him.
he's wonderful. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
He a Canadian guy.
yes. Hmm.
He's yeah, a fellow countryman, and his work is
Hmm.
brilliant.
Yeah. And then in weathering cars, rolling stock, Chris Vanko presented a great clinic at Naperville, and he had some IC stock cars and box cars on there. And it was a great history of the cars and a beautiful job on weathering wood. So he'll be there doing that sort of thing of what he did before. And do you know Kevin Nyheisler? He's on some of the weathering groups, and he does vehicles, and he does an
Okay.
incredible HO scale trailer,
Okay.
highly
So
detailed
if
trailer.
people are into weathering details, this is the year for them.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's a bridge or a car or a building or a rolling stock or whatever. We have some people for that, and I think they're
Now,
some of the best in the country.
this is not something you can register for if you want to attend, is it?
No, the only people that register are the exhibitors and the clinicians and the volunteers that help. The actual attendees just show up. We may get to the point where we pre-register. We just haven't got there. We even have early entry modelers that we know of in advance and invite them in early, and we can talk about that if you have time. But no, you just come up and show up. There's
You just show
hotels
up.
in advance and all that.
And how much does it cost to get in? And do you get
It's
in for both days or every, like, how does it
it's
work?
it's most people. If we're thinking we might hit 900 this year.
Oh,
And of that, I'm guessing 150 will come on Saturday only. They'll pay $25. Those that come on Friday,
wait, $25
yes, to come on Saturday only. And if
for
you
a
come
whole
for,
day.
yeah, and if you come for both days, it's 35, and you get Thursday night too. So it's kind of cheap, it's
Yeah,
inexpensive.
I was going to say, that sounds like a pretty good deal.
Yeah, the business model we have kind of lends itself to that for now. We'll see how it works in the future. Um,
Okay.
this
No,
year, go ahead.
my guess is if you've got 900 people, a lot of people are coming because I remember from last year, a lot of people, this is a destination show. So a lot of people come
Yeah.
in. Do you know our hotel's still available? If
Yes.
someone's watching and they decide they want to be at this thing, it's
If
only
they go,
$35 to get in, but how
yeah.
do are there still hotels?
When you go to the website, two tabs over from where we are is a location and hotels.
Got
And
it.
on that, we list 6 or 8 hotels. I've
Okay.
gone to those hotels, met with them personally, shaken their hands 3 or 4 times a year. We put down a local phone number. There are
Yep.
times when it'll roll over to a franchise number or an 800 number, but you get that local phone number, somebody right there in that hotel in that town. And if you just ask for RPM, they have group rates. All of them hold rooms. Usually they hold them for about 30 days out from the event. So we have some that hold them until maybe June 15th, and then
Okay.
they might release them. So what I'll be doing soon is calling back and saying, how are you doing on room count? Are we running out? Can we let go a little longer? And sometimes they push it out further for us. But the rooms are one of the reasons we have it in Collinsville instead of a city like St. Louis is the rooms are less expensive. It's safe, all of that. So
Yeah.
it's not hard to get a room as long as there's not a Cubs game in town. Last
Yeah.
year we faced the Cards Cubs, and that was tough.
Yeah.
Hotels were full.
I'm at the DoubleTree, a short walk from
Okay.
the venue.
Yeah. We call that, we've dubbed it the Host Hotel. We have a party there on Friday night of about 8:30 till 10. They provide appetizers for the attendees. It's a cash bar, and you see a lot of manufacturers and modelers there, and you just hang out as a social event after the keynote speaker.
Yeah. Oh, keynote speaker. Tell me about that.
Okay. The keynote is usually a topic, a person that is known throughout the industry. For instance, when we had Cole, I invited the owner publisher of Coal Age magazine and a couple others. So he was the biggest trade magazine publisher in the coal industry in the world. He happens to be local to Illinois. So we invited him. We've had the president of Indiana Railroad. This year, we have Butch Eiler. And
Oh,
Butch is a
wow.
great modeler. He and other people from the weathering shop have 3 tables, and we have a learning station there so you can sit down with him and enjoy it. And I went to Butch months ago and said, I need to tie the theme together and have something that truly talks weathering, but through the ages. And I said, Tangent produced an 86-foot boxcar, an auto boxcar for the Ann Arbor. And they produced one that was brand new, 1978 version, straight out of the factory. And then they produced 3 more that had different names on them that started as that Ann Arbor car over that 20-some year period that the car ran. So we were able to get almost all 4 of those. Butch got 4 of them, made them look like what Tangent produced. And I said, then weather them a year or 2 out from when they became that railroad's car or got patched out or whatever. So he's weathering that car from that same railroad, same body style, over a 20-plus year period that's had all kinds of owners and that. So I thought it was a beautiful way to tie in weathering through the ages. And I've been watching him over the last couple of months. He's doing a great job on him.
Fantastic. So last year was my first year at St. Louis. The first, I always want to say St. Louis. It's a Canadian, or the French.
Mm-hmm.
Last year in St. Louis, and there you are. I scanned you.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that was
I
fun.
think I scanned a bunch of guys because I did 25 scans when I was down there last year. And there's, I saw Jeff a minute. There's Jeff, your partner in crime.
Yes.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be doing it again this year. So I want to just share with people. I mean, don't come to get scanned, come for the event. But if you are coming for the event and you would like to, if you go to miniprints.com, here, let me just find this page. Here we go. Miniprints.com, STLRPM. You can get to the St. Louis RPM scan page, and I'm scanning all day Friday, all day Saturday right now. So if you just click on that, you can pick the time that you want to get scanned. Now, I think realistically, there will be some clinics I want to go see. So we'll see what fills up. I've got a couple scans booked right now, but I just put this up. So if anyone is interested in getting scanned, I'll have all the gear down there, and it'll be a good time.
Can I give you an idea that we did last year? So
Please.
Jeff and I and Brian McQuitty, we 3 and 3 others make up the RPM team, and we decided that we would each be scanned and then buy a half a dozen of the figures and trade each other. So now I have Jeff, who is kind of having a white collar job there. He's hanging, a message on the loop or something.
That's
and
right.
Brian,
Yeah.
I think you put a broom handle in Brian's hand, so his fists were out there, and he's
That's
on the
right.
back
Yeah.
of a caboose.
There he is.
Yeah, so he's on the back of a caboose riding. So I'm the only common laborer of the 3, and we've got a goof off on the back of the caboose, and Jeff's the boss. So we traded, painted up the figures and traded with each other, made it fun. So I'd suggest to others, do these things, buy enough of them that you can trade with your friends and be on each other's layout. It's fun.
I love it. I love it. And what's interesting too, which is new from last year, is now you can get it in N, H, O, S, or O scale. But what we've done now is we've added the option whether people would like it painted or not. And we're working with that fantastic painter, Ian, in Australia.
That's neat.
Yeah, so it's really kind of fun. I personally like painting, but some people don't want to paint. Oh, here we go. Look at that. I purchased a Brian and used him with a hand truck. Perfect.
Huh.
There you go. Thank you, Sean.
Tell Brian that. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and Dave's right. I didn't see the big boy the last time I was down there. I didn't have time last time. So this year I have to see the big boy. Alrighty, well, it's coming up on 8 o'clock, and I typically like to go about an hour. But before we slowly wrap up, I will ask first you, Lonnie, are there any things that we haven't covered that we should cover that you wanted to share with everyone?
I think that if they just go to the website, particularly over the next few days, we'll have every clinician, we'll have all the learning station information, should have the rest of the exhibitors listed. And it's a lot of knowledge in there. Just keep checking it. It's fun. We have at the last of it, you can see the media gallery, which is many, many years of all those thousands of models.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And it's a great place. And just take your time, blow that picture up, study those models. It's phenomenal.
I bet you. So this is 2023. I probably could find some of the ones last year. I mean, the B, I'm going to say it wrong, B-25 or whatever, the
Yes.
World War II bomber wing. That blew my mind.
Yeah,
But the other one that blew my mind was, and I forget, maybe it was Andre's, but someone modeled a complete barge, Mississippi
Yes.
River barge.
Yes, that's gorgeous. They had that there last year. I saw it.
And that blew my mind. And the other one from last year that was just, and thank you, I'm glad I can share some of these photos. Yeah, James Regeer's stuff was incredible. But there was a guy, well, there were two, I mean, there's so many, but the guy who had the space shuttle hanging from the cranes.
Yes.
I mean, that was unbelievable. And wasn't there also someone last year who had remote control bulldozers?
I didn't see that. I worked too hard at that thing to get to watch very much of it.
Yeah, I have a video. And as I say, I think it was the most popular video, one of the most popular, if not the most popular video I put up last year. And it was just walking through a live walkthrough of the tables, looking at models, you know, for people who weren't there.
I saw that.
Oh, I remember this one, the MOW. Oh, yeah. Spectacular. Hey, how come you can't click them? I want to make them bigger.
You can. I think you can. I don't know why you're not, but I think
maybe
I'll pull
because
them
I'm
up and look at them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This MOW setup was fantastic. Anyway. All right. So does anyone have questions for Lonnie before we slowly wrap this up? I mean, I will be there. The hotel rates were not crazy, if I remember correctly. It's a bit of a drive for me. It's a 2-day drive, which reminds me, I don't think I booked my trip down, but it's well worth it. And I'm so looking forward to attending again this year. It's one of those events where you come back and you're just so inspired. You want to just start building something.
That's great news. Yeah.
All right. So any questions before we thank Lonnie? Thank you, everybody. I hope, is anyone planning on attending? Is there anyone here who is planning on going down? I know there are lots of people that I've talked to that are going to be there, but if anyone is thinking about it, yeah, Adam, that's a good point. I don't know if you know Michelle, Lonnie, Michelle Kempema.
Okay. I don't know that anymore.
She runs the Colorado Model Railroad Museum.
Oh, okay. I know who she is now.
Okay, Sparky's got a question. This is a great question. And actually, this is a perfect question to end on. Can I just bring something down with me, Lonnie, if there's something that I'm proud of that I want to put on a table? Or how, like, if I decide that I want to be not just an attendee or an exhibitor, but I want to be, like, I want to put a model down, what do I do?
Well, first of all, we love that. This whole thing, for all the exhibitors, for all the clinics, for all the other things, it's about the models. And that is really our ongoing theme. So we want everyone to bring models in any stage of completion, any scale gauge, whatever they want. To do that, you simply walk in the door when you register. Now, we did start a program 2 or 3 years ago called Early Entry Modelers, and I'll be getting something out on the different websites soon. And basically what we suggest is just, let us know that you're going to bring 20 or 30 models or a great big model or a diorama or whatever it might be. But we allow the early entry modelers in at 7:30, and They come in through the back door on the docks when the others have pretty much done things. We give them a green ID tag, and then after they set out all their displays, they simply go to the front desk before we open the front door for the regular attendees and trade out and pay to get in and so forth. So it's a way to encourage them to bring more models, get in early, get set up before the crowds come in. We call it early entry modelers. People can call me, they can email me. I'm on the website. We'd love to have them.
And
so thank you for asking.
Is there a cost to bring a model and put it down on the table?
Oh no, we pay for we have 100 tables just for models, and we pay for all that. So you just pay your regular entry fee, and we're thrilled to have you.
And I can show up with a shoebox of something. And does it have to be like, if I want to build something like a tree house in a tree, can it be that? Or does it have to be like, here's the photograph of the car, here's the photograph of the, like, how much, like, is it anything goes, or are there rules?
I think anything goes. We've had a couple of dioramas that weren't totally railroad oriented. They were nice and it was fine. But really anything to do with the railroad, it can be any kind of structure, anything at all.
Perfect. Great. And last question goes to Dave Hammer. And he wants to know, does it cost money for a museum to attend or a nonprofit?
We have tables that we consider you an exhibitor. And so you go through the same process of pre-registering. We get ID badges for you. You come in at a certain time through the docks in the rear. We have tables and chairs for you. It's just like being in your company coming.
Sure.
So, yeah, we have, what is it now? I think we're going to have 18 or 19 historical societies. Those are non-for-profits. A couple museums will be there, also not-for-profit. So yeah, that's very much, we encourage that because that's research. We love that.
And they pay to exhibit as well?
Yes, they pay to get in, they pay for the table, and because all that money, we pay for this event by the person walking to the front door. All of the rest of it flows right back to the Gateway Center.
And I'm sure Dave can go to the website. There's probably something on the website that outlines all that.
Yes, and he can also call me or email me. I'm kind of the guy where we started. So
perfect. And are you on the website? Is your contact information up there?
Yes. Yes.
Fantastic. Well, there you go. Everybody go check out stlrpm.com. Check out miniprints.com/stlrpm if you would like to get scanned. I know that it seems like it's a long time away, but it's really not. I mean, it's like we're just over a month, maybe a month and a couple of weeks. It's going to go by like that. So I'm super excited. Thank you for coming on tonight and sharing all this exciting news. And
I appreciate it.
See you in St. Louis, I guess.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's been a lot of fun being with you. I'm glad you get to drink beer on the air. That's great. That's
I encourage everybody. Everyone's got to bring a beverage. It's we're model railroaders. This is supposed to be fun.
If you like beer that much, we'll have a beer in St. Louis.
I look forward to it.
I'm a beer fan too, and I'm bringing you something unusual.
Awesome. Thank you, Lonnie. I'll see you in just over a month.
Thanks to all. Good night.
Okay. That's great. Okay, everyone. That was fantastic. Thank you for sticking around. As you can tell, I'm a little bit excited by the show. I really did. It blew my mind last year. It really did. It was such a fantastic event. Let me just go back to the presentation. I think I have a couple more slides. Not really. I was just going to basically share with people that, if you want to send me stickers. Okay, Dave Hammer, peanut butter lid challenge. Okay, let's talk about that. Dave Hammer's mentioned it and Sparky's mentioned it. I did a bunch of peanut butter lid challenges last year, and it was extremely popular. And I always ended up with, I forget how many it was, like 14 entries, 20 entries, something like that. The entries were going along, and then they just started falling off. And the last one or two, the entries were declining to the point where it was like 2 or 3 or 4 entries. So if the demand is there and if people want the peanut butter lid challenge, I would love to do the peanut butter lid challenge. It was so much fun. I got a real tickle out of it. My concern was that we had peanut butter lid challenged people to death, and that it got to the point where it was the same 2 or 3 people entering, which is great, but I didn't necessarily want to keep going with something if it had run its course. If enough time has gone by and if there are enough new people that they think that the peanut butter lid challenge is something that we should bring back, I'm interested in it. The question is when, and I just had the little bit of a feeling that maybe people had been like enough with that. If people still want it, yeah, absolutely. I will work on figuring out when we do the next challenge, maybe a fall challenge. But maybe I will put a poll up on the Mini Prints Modelers group saying who wants another peanut butter lid challenge and when do you want it? Let's do that. Let's do a vote. And if enough people vote and commit to it in whatever way they commit to it, then yeah, let's do it. Okay, so that's pretty much the broadcast. I mean, I won't share the typical slides. There is one more thing that I did promise last time. Where is it? Here we go. I promised I'd give away the Henderson hat. So how am I going to do it? Okay, Sparky wants it as well. Okay, how do we give away? This is a bit of swag. It's a hat from Henderson's that they gave me to give away on the channel. I don't know. I'm thinking of a number. Okay, I'm thinking of a number. It's a number between 1 and 27. Go. First time I see the number is the person who gets it. How's that sound? Does anyone want a hat from Henderson's? The lucky 26 or 27 of you who stuck around. Sparky, it's between 1 and 27. All right, I haven't seen it yet. If I don't see it quickly, I'll award it to the person who's closest. All right. Haven't seen it yet. All right. Sparky, you can't just randomly enter. Well, I guess you can just randomly enter a ton of numbers. Well, I do have to say that no one's done it yet, but Sparky is actually the closest so far. So we'll let it go for another minute. And then remember tonight, Heath is on at 9 o'clock, I believe. Even though he didn't come into my stream, he's probably busy fighting fires on his, so I will not hold it against him. And everyone check out Heath's stream at 9 o'clock. And the lucky number I was thinking of is 3. So the fix is not in. It's Sparky's if he wants it. If you don't want it, Sparky, the next closest person would be Wrath Baster. Oh, or Adam. Adam is now. Oh, well, Adam, I said it was 3. Did you guess before or after? All right. Oh, I got to do a better way of giving things away. All right. Well, it's technically Sparky's because he did get closer. And then it goes to Adam if he didn't hear me say it. And then Wrathbaster, I will shoot you. Actually, Wrathbaster, email me Bernard at miniprints.com and I will send you something. Sparky says send it to Wrathbaster. Adam says, but it's okay. I think it's yours, Adam, technically. And Wrathbaster, email me. I will send you a Mini Prints mug. How's that sound? All right. Thanks, everyone. See you in St. Louis. I will be going live one more time before St. Louis. Sorry. Not a good camera angle. Wednesday the 3rd. Wednesday, July 3rd will be the next broadcast. Go back to YouTube if you are so inclined, and you can watch the tour of the fantastic Lehigh and Keystone Valley. It's a great layout tour. You can watch the Rapido. George tells us everything you ever wanted to know about remote control locomotives. And definitely sign up for scanning if you are coming to St. Louis. And I'll see you next month, everyone. Thanks for joining. Good night, all. Bye.